future would be cooler. I thought the future would be cooler.
Welcome to Learning is the New Working, a podcast brought to you by me, Chris Peary, and the Learning Futures Group, and the many interesting people that we've managed to talk to over the last 24 episodes. And I just wanted to say at the start of this podcast, thank you to everyone who's listened to us and subscribed or given us feedback. We feel passionately about the future of workplace learning, and it's great to know that many of you do too. So thanks for your work, thanks for your listening, and please continue to share and involve yourself in the conversation. Here in Season 5, we meet learning leaders who are pushing the boundaries and defining the next generation of learning and development in EdTech. Digitally enabled, rooted in culture, deeply human, but hardwired to the business strategy and business mission, fourth-generation L&D practices are facing up to the challenge of a rapidly changing workplace. We call this fourth-generation L&D because it responds to and explores the opportunities present in the fourth industrial revolution. Today, we meet Karl Mehta. Karl is a serial entrepreneur, an author, an investigator, engineer, and civil servant with over 20 years of experience in founding, building, and funding technology companies in the US. He's currently the founder and CEO of EdCast, Inc., an AI-powered cloud platform company backed by Stanford University. He was formerly a venture partner at Menlo Ventures, a leading venture capital firm in Silicon Valley with over $4 billion under management. Previous to that, he was the founder and CEO of PlaySpan, Inc., which was a company he founded that was ultimately acquired by Visa Corporation, as you'll hear in our conversation. He also served as White House Presidential Innovation Fellow, selected by the Obama administration during the inaugural 2012-2013 term. And if that wasn't enough, he's the founder of several nonprofits, including Code for India, Grassroots Innovation, and he's also the author of Financial Inclusion at the Bottom of the Pyramid. Karl's a really interesting guy and a fascinating thinker, entrepreneur, and engineer. In our conversation, we talk about a whole number of things, including his journey to becoming an influential force, about current trends in the current LXP and skills cloud space. We talk about the state of edtech venture capital, and we talk about the future role of learning and development and his philosophy on the importance of giving back. Please listen in to my fascinating conversation with Karl Mehta.
Yeah, hi Chris, my name is Karl Mehta and today is March 2nd.
Great. Karl, thank you so much for your time today and welcome to Learning is the New Working, our podcast. I'm really looking forward to getting to know you a little bit and getting some of your insights on what's going on in the workplace learning world today.
Very good. Thank you for inviting me.
Great. Well, we always start with a few quick questions to just kind of sketch out for folks your career history and what you do. So let's dive in and then we'll go a bit more conversational. So can you start by telling me what part of the world I'm talking to you in? Why do you live there and why?
Wow. Okay. Well, I am based in Silicon Valley. That's where our office is headquartered in Mountain View. And I've lived here for now more than 24 years. And it's a magical place to do innovative technology companies. So that's why I'm here.
Great. And your job title, Karl?
Well, I wear multiple hats. So a formal title would be the founder CEO of EdCast, but I do have a couple of nonprofits. And overall, I think of my job title as a chief plumber. Who has to unblock things for all my people, whatever they're working on.
Unblocker, chief unblocker. I like it. What today's CEO of EdCast, and we're definitely going to dive into EdCast and how you go to market and what you bring to the world. But can you sort of sketch out your major career steps? What got you to be CEO of this hot Silicon Valley EdTech?
Well, I'm an engineer by training, and started my career in software as well as in hardware. Actually, started in semiconductor chip design. Built a number of different products, some for other companies that I work for, and a few companies that I ended up starting here in the Valley, trying to solve some technical problems, some real business world problems. And so that has been kind of my career over the past 20 plus years. And then EdCast was founded about 5 years back here at Stanford University.
Cool. And you, as I was doing my research, you constantly in your writing and your talking come back to your twin passions for technology and entrepreneurship. And I think you have a philosophy around how this is a particularly powerful force in the world today. How did you develop your philosophy of entrepreneurship, and could you kind of lay it out for us?
Yeah, sure. Well, I grew up in India, and I was for the first 22 years of my life, everywhere where I saw, wherever you look, back in those days, there were just problems. I mean, there was poverty. There were, if you turn on the water, the tap, the water will not work, and so back in those days. Now India has gotten much better. So I kind of developed my personal interest in trying to solve a lot of problems that I have personally gone through in growing up. And since I got my engineering degree, I kind of developed this lens of looking at everything from an engineering standpoint and saying, well, if this is a problem, can we build something here, like a device
Yeah.
or a service or a product or something that can solve the problem. And so my view of the world has always been about trying to look for problems that can be solved using technology or a product. And it ends up becoming an entrepreneurship, then it's fine. If it ends up becoming a nonprofit, then also it is fine. It is maybe even better. But that's that has been my view of the world.
Well, I know you're sort of kind of relatively recent to the edtech learning world, and I think your prior venture was acquired by Visa Corporation, and I assume it was fintech related product. Why did you choose to sort of move into workplace learning and edtech as a focus for your current venture?
Well, that's a great question. A lot of people ask me after I started EdCast and said, "Why did you come into learning? Well, you could have gone somewhere else, having done so many different
Yeah.
things." Well, it was mainly two things. Number one was my own personal pain point. I was a venture capitalist right before EdCast. I joined Menlo Ventures as a venture partner after Visa and at a short stint at the White House. And my personal pain point was that I had a hard time keeping up with my own daily continuous learning, which I had to learn because every day I was meeting like 2 to 3 entrepreneurs pitching us, and every decision was a $5-10 million decision, whether should we invest or not, like Series A, Series B, and
Mm.
on. And all of that requires a lot of learning. And I was going into 50 or 100 different sites, like whether it's Coursera or Udacity to pick up a course, or YouTube, or Khan Academy to watch a short video, or TechCrunch or whatever to read an article. It was completely unwieldy, and it was like shocking to me that how difficult it is to learn in the day and age of internet, where everything on your tip of your fingers, and you have a Google search, and you have hundreds of different sites with great content. So the problem was the curation and the personalization and a single point of access, where I wanted something that is as easy as Netflix. And maybe it's not the perfect metaphor from every sense, but I wanted something to be super easy, use some kind of an AI machine learning to understand. So it was really my own pain point that I wanted to solve. And then I saw that, hey, this is a big problem for everybody. In fact, from my White House days, I spent some time with Department of Education and looking at all this $1 trillion of loans and things like that. And like, people really need to be self-directed and learning on their own. There's a lot of things that you don't need to really even spend money on, thousands and thousands of dollars on, and putting up debt. You can just, if you are a good self-directed learner, and if you can create a culture of learning, I mean, people can learn and upskill and become more successful in their life without putting on all this crazy debt. So those twin things, like my own pain point and the outside pain point, kind of led me to this, that okay, we need to solve this problem.
Cool. Well, I want to really dive in on a number of different areas, and we're going to get through as much as we can in this time frame, Karl. But I want to start by just diving down a little bit on EdCast. You launched this company in 2014, and it quickly became associated with a kind of new wave in learning technology that was sort of dubbed the LXP, the Learning Experience Platform. And I know the product's evolved since there, but what was your initial product philosophy and direction for EdCast?
Yeah, so the initial focus was not just learning, but it was any kind of knowledge, and that's why we ended up actually the product name that we gave was Knowledge Cloud. We said it's an AI powered knowledge cloud, and just like salespeople need Sales Cloud and marketing people need Marketing Cloud, everybody in the knowledge economy needs a knowledge cloud. And that was the initial vision, to say, hey, we want to make it like one click, push button, or even without one click, before you even click, the knowledge cloud should be smart enough to know who you are, what role you are in, what skills you require for that role. And we're going to start streaming you content on a daily basis. So you don't even have to ask for it. It just comes to you. And if you have the time, you take it. If you don't have the time, you move on. Next day is a new day. And that was the initial idea, to just create this cloud that wherever you go, it follows you. It learns from you. It understands your habit. It kind of tries to fill in your downtime. Like if I'm standing in a line picking up my lunch, or if I'm sitting in my car picking up my daughter, and I have 20 minutes to kill, I can be on my phone, and this knowledge cloud will bring me content. Now the content can be anything from short form, like a knowledge, because certain things I just need knowledge. I don't need a course, and certain things I want to go very deeper into it. Then I want to do it like a learning. So that was the initial philosophy, to make it super ubiquitous, like a cloud, super personalized. Many of the various very personal services like Ubers of the world, but also super simple and frictionless. And also make it super invisible, right? Which is that learning should not be a separate activity to go to, because that's something that even I was, as much as I'm like motivated learner, I would procrastinate, because I would always prioritize my work over learning. And I wanted to kind of somehow create this experience where learning and working is the same thing. And I love actually the title of your podcast, because that's exactly what I was thinking.
You got it. And you're harking here to, the ideas around learning in the flow of work, Josh Berson's work. I know he's a big fan of your platform. So just 5 years later, actually, it surprised me when I looked at the dates, but just 5 years on from its inception, you've done a ton of work around this. Where is EdCast now, in your opinion, in terms of really the product set and the customer portfolio that you've put together?
Sure. So in terms of the technology and the product, it has evolved rapidly in the past 5 years. It has become, it has morphed into and expanded into a complete, what we would like to call a future of work platform. It has 3 different product suites, from a knowledge cloud / learning experience platform, to a digital adoption platform, and also a full content marketplace. Couple acquisitions that we've done over the past 3 years. In fact, 3 acquisitions. So the platform has evolved into a very large scale enterprise grade platform. We have over 150 plus, close to 200 logos of the Fortune 1000 as a customer base. So that's pretty healthy market share, 15-20% of the F1000. We also have a couple countries, like a nationwide, like the country of India, that I'm allowed to say. The another one is still confidential, but India, NASSCOM, which is the association that works with the IT ministry there, selected EdCast, and we have currently now 250,000 people there, IT professionals who are upskilling and reskilling with the partnership with NASSCOM / the Indian government.
One thing that's really interesting on your sort of product set today is the investment that you made around your product called My Guide. Yep. Which is a kind of hot topic right now, kind of workflow automation, taking interactions that people have with their systems, whether it's CRM or whatever, and really automating that from both the instruction point of view, but also actually ultimately automating the processes and the process of